بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم. We greet you with Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh from my home here in the Caribbean island of Trinidad on this, the 24th day of the blessed month of Ramadan. And the juz for the 24th day, you'll find it in my book, The Quran and the Moon. It begins with Surah Ar-Rahman and it ends with Surah Al-Mujadila. Now then, we are now in the last week of the month of Ramadan, and in this last week we move away from the moon to the stars, because the dark nights are coming now when you won't see the moon in the sky in the early evening, only the stars. And the movement from the moon to the stars is a movement from recitation of the Quran to study of the Quran, meaning in order to study the Quran you must first recite the Quran. If you're not constantly reciting the Quran, you cannot truly study the Quran. Now then, we are explaining the footprints of Dajjal. You cannot see Dajjal because at this time he's still a shadow. It's only when the three stages of the shadow are completed, only then you'll see him appearing. Did you hear that word? Appearing in the form of a human being. As a Jew, a young man, powerfully built with the curls at the sideburns, and standing up, in Jerusalem and declaring, I am the Messiah. But he's not a human being, he's a Jasad. And we've already explained what is a Jasad. You may have a different view from mine, never mind. And in the first stage of his mission, we said, which is the longest, Pax Britannica appeared, and in the second stage, Pax Americana appeared, and there's a third still to come, which is about to commence with the Great War, and it's called Pax Judaica, and it's just a brief period of time. The footprints of the Dajjal to which we've been directing attention so far pertain to space and to time, backward and forward movement in time, speed, movement in space at such speed that you have hypersonic speed. Dajjal riding on a donkey, and the donkey traveling as fast as the clouds, taking control of the sky, imposing a no-fly zone and so on. I've covered that already, and now tonight I want to turn briefly, so because this is Ramadan, to another one of the footprints of Dajjal, and it's Dajjal and woman. I would be surprised knowing the total success that Dajjal has achieved in playing this tune, that most of the world is dancing to the tune, not just women, men as well, governments most of all. The feminist revolution, a new sunshine, the sun rising from the west instead of from the east, a new world for the women of the world, that what has come before was obsolete and archaic and was discriminative and oppressive to women. What all the prophets teach was wrong. What all the scriptures gave was wrong. What all the religions have taught was all wrong. And now in this age, we have come to give the first true and accurate and complete and authentic explanation of the role of women in society. Forget the past. It's all in a museum today. This is the new world that the Dajjal has come to give for women. And of course, the truth is located in the Quran. The truth is located in the scriptures. So what the Dajjal is teaching concerning women, while it may dazzle, it's bogus. That's right, because the truth is there. If Dajjal teaches what is in the Quran, fine. But when he teaches the opposite of what is in the Quran, it's bogus. Our Prophet prophesied this day. This is what he said. Whether you're comfortable with it or you're not is irrelevant. He said the last people to come out to Dajjal will be women. And a man would have to return to his home and tie down, meaning coercively restrain his wife, his sister, his daughter, to protect them from being seduced by Dajjal, meaning the brainwashing of women will be so total and complete that you can say what you want, you can do what you want, you cannot change their minds. That is Dajjal's hypnotic control over women. So then, what is it that Dajjal is going to bring to the world of women? Well, first of all, let's go to the Quran and see what the Quran has to say about women, and this has to be brief if you don't mind. Yeah. Allah speaks in Surah Al-Layl, and listen to what he says. Are you listening? This is the word of Allah. This is absolute truth. Whether you accept it or not, whether you agree with it or not, whether you're comfortable with it or not, once it is the word of Allah, you have to submit to it. Understanding can come afterwards. He says, he says, وَاللَّيْلِ إِذَا يَغْشَى. He takes an oath by the night and by that which with which it shrouds, it conceals so mysteriously. وَالنَّهَارِ إِذَا تَجَلَّى. And then he takes an oath by the day which is totally different from the night. While this is shrouding and concealing, this one is bright light. إِذَا تَجَلَّى. So night and day are not equal to the other. Night and day are completely different from each other, but night and day complement each other. Then Allah goes on to say, Inna sa'yakum lashatta, and this is the one verse of the Quran that Dajjal wishes he could take it out. This is his stumbling block. Inna sa'yakum lashatta. What does it mean? Let me give it to you in English. You, men and women, you are functionally different. No, sorry, I missed out one verse. وَمَا خَلَقَ الذَّكَرَ وَالْأُنْثَى وَاللَّيْلِ إِذَا يَغْشَى وَالنَّهَارِ إِذَا تَجَلَّى وَمَا خَلَقَ الذَّكَرَ وَالْأُنْثَى. That in the same way that I have created the night and the day, so too have I created the male and the female. You did not create yourself. You don't have sovereignty over your own body. This is my body. I do with it what I want. Not at all. He is the sovereign. He has created you from a drop of sperm. وَمَا خَلَقَ الذَّكَرَ وَالْأُنْثَى. That in the same way that I created the night and the day, so too have I created the male and the female. You are different from each other. You don't put an equal sign between the night and the day, and so you don't put an equal sign between the male and the female. That's a PhD in stupidity. Inna sa'yakum lashatta. You are functionally different. To the extent that a woman is a woman, it is for her to live as a woman, to be able to realize what it is to be a woman. And for a man to be a man, he has to live as a man in order to realize what is masculinity. A man cannot assume a woman's role in society. sit down at home and you do nothing? You sit down at home and you never go out and work? You never earn your livelihood? You never struggle to maintain your wife and your children? And you call yourself a man? All your days are spent in the casino? All your days are spent smoking and drinking and gambling? And you call yourself a man? No, you're not a man. Not at all. Because to be a man, الرجال قوامون على النساء. This is a man. A man maintains women, and a man guards and protects women. This is a man. So a man, in order to be a man, must fulfill his functions as a man. And a woman, in order to be a woman, she has this supremely important role in society. It is from her that human beings come into the world. She is not just a wife, she's a mother. And Allah says in the Quran that there is a dua that to be made, رَبِّ ارْحَمْهُمَا كَمَا رَبَّيَانِي صَغِيرًا. That parents to a child are Rabb, like Allah to His servants are Rabb. The Rabb is one who takes care of what He has created, who nourishes, who cherishes, who looks over its growth from stage and stage to stage. This is Rabb, who provides for. And so parents have the same role towards children as Allah has to His creatures. This is not a simple thing. This is an extremely important thing. And the role of the mother with respect to children is 3 times more important than the role of the father. So said the Prophet ﷺ. A mother has 3 times a status higher than a father in respect of her children. And so if a woman stops being a woman and she seeks to assume the functional role of men in society, the tragedy that mankind will experience will be that children will eventually grow up with an internal rage inside of them, and they'll become drug addicts, and they'll become alcoholics, and they'll become violent in conduct, they'll become criminals, and society will be broken up into pieces because mommy was a part-time mother. It is very difficult for a woman, very difficult, to be a woman and to be a mother, and also to be the one who is working to maintain her family, because the father has run away and he's not in charge, he's not doing his duty. But our society is one in which she's not alone. The society will now maintain her and the children through zakat. But where is that society today? We cannot establish Islam as a state today because Gog and Magog will destroy us. And so here is Dajjal's major footprint in Akhiru Zaman. He takes the world of women and brainwashes them that they must assume the functional role of men in society. So now a woman has the right to become head of state. A woman could be the president and prime minister. A woman could be a member of the Supreme Court of Pakistan. A woman could be a general in the armed forces of Pakistan. Yes. This is Dajjal's strategy of transforming women from their feminine role in society to assuming a masculine role of society, and that is the destruction of what it is to be a woman. There is a corollary to this, that as women assume the functional role of men in society, as the night assumes to be the day, pursuing relentlessly a struggle to become the day, the result is that women would progressively lose their femininity. And as men abandon their role as men in society, men will eventually, progressively lose their masculinity. And then the Dajjal offers his master plan, and that is that a man can now marry another man and get a marriage certificate. Be careful for your children. Be careful for your children, because this is already prevailing in so many parts of the world. Be careful for your children. Let me say it one more time. Be careful for your children, because this is the jazz tune being played, and there are so many who are dancing to it. That homosexuality will become increasingly prevalent, and they will parade on the streets with no even blush of shame. If they're doing it in Manhattan today, they'll do it in Lahore tomorrow. The Gay and Lesbian Rights Day parade. And anyone who wants to be a politician and to get votes in the election, you better be in that parade, otherwise you're going to lose all those votes. And a woman will marry another woman, lesbianism. And when you go this road, you lose your nur. It's not just with zina. When you commit sexual relations, when you have sexual relations outside of marriage, it's called zina, adultery and fornication. When you go down that road, you lose all your nur in your heart. And when you have only darkness in the heart, no nur, even if you have a PhD from the University of London, you're still just like sheep and goats. You have only external knowledge, you're internally blind. And so in the same way that zina destroys your internal integrity, destroys the nur inside of you, so too does homosexuality and lesbianism. There is so much more to the subject of this footprint of the Dajjal, the modern feminist revolution. But guess where it started? Did you know? The modern feminist revolution was born in Britain. That's right. The Dajjal's first day. The modern feminist revolution is blossoming in the United States of America. Yes, Pax Britannica. And the modern feminist revolution is therefore, it is connected with the Dajjal. It is one of his footprints. We must make the effort to go to the Quran and to study. What does Allah say in the Quran? What does the Prophet say in the Quran? He said that the time will come when women will be dressed and yet naked. And so our women must cover. We have the hijab, and they want to ban the hijab. Our women must be covered completely. And he said women will dress like men, and men will dress like women. He prophesied it. This is what Dajjal is going to do. And I was born and grew up in a village where we never saw a woman wearing trousers. Never. Because women dressed, and you could see that's a woman from a dress, and you could see that this is a man from his dress, not only the beard on his face. And then slowly we started to see, when I was a teenager, we started to see women wearing trousers for the first time. It was such a surprise, we thought the sky was falling down. And then came, don't be annoyed with me, the blue jeans Jamaat. And this became a statement of fashion. But we were accustomed to blue jeans, that is the corduroy trouser. This is the work clothing. The men wear these clothing for work. But now somebody took it and made it into a statement of fashion. Every young man wants to be in blue jeans. Yes, if you're a young man and you're not in blue jeans, you're not in fashion. And then it happened one day that the young women say, well, what about us? We can also be in blue jeans. And then the elders started to join. Parents, fathers and mothers in blue jeans. One day maybe grandpa and grandma in blue jeans. And then the priest in blue jeans. And the pundit. And the imam goes on the mimbar in blue jeans. This is Gog and Magog doing the Dajjal's work with the blue jeans. When a man dresses, he has to wear the clothes that he would use if he has to ride on a donkey or a horse. So he has to have an upper garment and a lower garment, and the lower garment has to be sufficiently roomy that he could ride on a horse or camel. That's the dress of a man. If you tomorrow when you have more motor cars, you have to use animals once in a while. You'll know what it is to dress as a man. And the dress of a woman is similar. That she does not reveal the contours and the shape of her body because Allah has blessed her with beauty. Oh yes. And men are attracted to the beauty. So a woman must conceal her beauty. So she wears an upper garment and a lower garment. If you choose to put on blue jeans, at least the upper garment must be up to the knee so that the derriere is not exposed, the shape is not exposed, the legs are not exposed. And this is called haya. This is called modesty. It's called chastity. And it is something increasingly scarce in the world today, the modern world. And so this Ramadan, we call our daughters and our granddaughters and our sisters back to the life of haya, the life of modesty, the life of chastity, in the way you dress, in the way you speak, in the way you conduct yourself publicly. In private, you're with your husband. That's different. But when you're in public, you have to be modest. You have to be chaste. And to call our women back to try to live as a woman and not allow Dajjal to seduce you, to leave the life of a woman and live the life of a man, you won't be happy unless you come back to be a woman. Thank you. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.